Hi, my name's Dave Flynn, and thanks for looking at my bass collection. Today we're looking at the Hofner Ignition Series violin bass. Now, if you're a bass player or just a musician, you'll know this is synonymous with Paul McCartney and all things Beatlemania. The Ignition Series bass, though, is a Chinese-made instrument and would be considered an entry-level version of Hofner's violin basses. The instrument, well, it retailed in September 2011 at $5.99, that's $599 Australian, and came with its own fitted hard case. Now, if you're looking at one at the moment, it doesn't come with a hard case, or someone is talking about adding extra for that, I'd be questioning that. It should come with that already. What do you get for your money? Well, you get a really good bass, and Hofner have gone to a lot of extent to ensure really good quality and attention to detail to make it fitting with all of their other instruments. In terms of build, well, it's a maple neck, rosewood fingerboard, spruce top, flame maple sides and back, and it's finished in this vintage sunburst. The materials are exactly the same as those used in the German instruments, although quality of the material, I suppose, is something that you could kind of question. But still looks really great, and if you were to look for any blemishes, you'd be hard-pressed to find anything particularly outstanding on it. So I'd probably give it 8 or 9 out of 10 in terms of build quality. If you keep moving on, it has a floating bridge. Now, this bridge adjusts up and down and will apparently move backwards and forwards. I wouldn't want to try sort of moving it around too much, but you can do that. The string tree and tailpiece is classic Hofner and is the same as all of their violin basses. And of course, the pick guard that is well known and makes it sort of outstanding, and you recognise it straight away as a Hofner. In terms of electronics, well, it comes with what Hofner describe as Hofner's Ignition Series staple pickups, and I guess that's Hofner's way of saying they're made in China. They're nickel plated as well. The control box is typical Hofner and really is that sort of quirky layout to volume controls and those series of switches. I'll have a look a bit more of that in a moment, and you can kind of see why it's a bit quirky. The rest of it, well, Hofner also include these replica open back tuners, and are fitting in keeping with the design of the instrument. It is hollow bodied, short scaled, 22 frets. But if you're a smaller player or smaller fingers, or just like something that's lighter and something you don't have to kind of hang around your neck or the weight of a solid body instrument, then you'll probably find this quite a good, just a great instrument to play. It's fun to play. It's more like playing a guitar than it is playing a bass, and that's one of the things I really like about it, and I can kind of see why McCartney probably would have liked using it. In terms of the control system, well, you can kind of see here you've got these two volume controls, so one for each pickup, and then this set of sliders. You have a treble on, a bass on, and what's called a rhythm solo switch. Now, the rhythm solo switch is basically a volume boost, and does make a significant difference. And I would imagine if you consider about 1960s and those sort of original instruments, probably would have been considered quite a unique feature. I'm not sure how many other instruments around those sort of times would have had that sort of thing, and it reminds me of Nigel Tufnell's turning your amp up to 11. It's kind of got that sort of effect. In terms of sound, well, the quirkiness of it is, and if you can kind of see there, the way the switching arrangement is. I've heard of these used, called as tone shaping switches and tone switches, but really they're just pick up on and off switches. If I have these switches, and I don't know if you can see it so well there, but they actually say treble on, bass on, so that's both on at the moment, and the boost switch is in the rhythm mode. But with both of those that say on, in fact, it cuts out both pickups. So effectively, both pickups are off and the instrument is muted. If I play it, you should hear some sound out of it, and that's because it is a hollow-bodied instrument. And in fact, I like that because it's really good for just playing quietly in your study or in your bedroom, just a quiet practice. You don't need to plug it into an amplifier to practice. And in terms of the sound by itself, it actually is quite nice. And you can actually get quite a decent sound out of it just for your own benefit. However, if I do turn these switches both to the on position, which is actually off, well, to me it's off anyway, you have both pickups on. Both pickups on give you what I would consider the Hofner kind of sound. And you can probably hear some of those sounds that you would probably get from any sort of recordings of the Beatles. So it's got that hollow-bodied sound, and I really like that. If though we come back to here and we turn these pickups, I switch this pickup now to the treble on position, it actually now cuts out the neck pickup, and you actually are just playing now with the rear one. The rear one by itself is quite thin, I think, in terms of sound. And in a live performance, I actually found this probably not that useful. I actually found myself even turning up my bass on my rig or using bass boost. It didn't quite cut so well in a full band with guitars, drums, and keyboard by itself. But it's still not a bad sound, and even through DI, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. You could probably use it to play sort of more chords than anything else. It's not too bad. If I then switch that back up, both pickups on, I now move the bass to the on position. You've now got the neck pickup by itself. Now this is probably more classic Hofner, and in kind of a way probably classic McCartney kind of sounds. Again, it's a... And the more I play it, the more I listen to it, the more I kind of hear McCartney playing, and you can start to hear some of those tonal things coming out. Probably over on the neck pickup, obviously you're getting more of the wood, and you're getting some of that hollow body overtone from that as well. Bring it back up to both positions, and as I said, you've got both pickups, and basically you're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting a bit of that sort of more high end from the rear pickup, plus you're getting that bass, and it's just a nice tonal characteristic from that. The other thing I should say is that this bass comes fitted, the Ignition Series bass comes fitted with round wound strings, as opposed to the German instruments that come with flat wounds. So you're going to get a bit of a difference anyway, and certainly the round wound strings give it sort of a modern sort of clarity to it. The flat wound strings are going to be a bit more of a mellower tone. Having said that, knowing guys and seeing some of you guys on YouTube already who have changed that over, the sound is quite good, and in fact it probably would make a difference to the instrument. The other thing, of course, as I said, was this bass, this volume boost, which is the rhythm and the solo. Now I've been playing in that rhythm mode, and if I keep playing that. So you can hear that's in the rhythm mode. If I play it in the solo position, that's the solo position played in the rhythm position. And you can see a difference. There's the solo position again. And the rhythm. Have a look at some other YouTube clips of people doing sound tests, and you'll get a better idea. But it does make a difference in terms of volume, and it's just another tone shaping way of doing it. So all the tone shaping just comes from really just varying around with the pickups in both positions, both pickups on. It's probably the more practical way to play, and just using volume control to blend between the two pickups. And in normal performance, playing live, that's the best way I've found to use that. Some final comments about it. Well, in terms of some of the cheapness of it, and what probably cheapens it a little bit, and the things that I kind of found when I looked at it, some minor things. These tuning knobs are obviously plastic. And even though sort of from a distance look really good, they have kind of this very unfinished sort of quality about them on the top, and plasticky, and I really don't like that. If you're looking to mod it to make it more sort of around McCartney's kind of instrument, then you'd want to change this nut to kind of like at least a white one or a bone one to fit in with that, and that's just an aesthetic kind of appearance kind of thing. The thing that stand out to me a mile away when I first bought it was the pick guard, and even though I've kind of disguised it a bit, if you can see, there's this dirty grey, yeah, you can probably see it there better. This dirty grey Phillips head machine screw that's used to attach the pick guard to the bracket. Now, in the original Hofners and anything I've seen of those images, I don't see that they used such a screw to hold the pick guard in place. I'm curious to know how they did it, but it looks different to in this Icon series. If you don't disguise it, and I've painted just with a bit of white paint, but if you don't disguise it in some way, it stands out like a pimple, and now that I've shown it to you, it probably would stand out even more. Yeah, and it's just, to me, that kind of cheapened it a bit, because it just doesn't look like the originals in that respect. The other thing that cheapens it is probably these toothpaste knobs and the black sliders. Certainly on the 60s versions of this and McCartney's version, they use the white, what they call teacup knobs, and they're white sliders. Now, a lot of you guys have kind of changed that around, and I know why, and I probably have looked at doing that as well. But the curious thing was, if you get with your instrument Hofner's own catalogue, you'll see in that catalogue, and even on their website, the Icon, as they say, is based on their early 70s versions of their violin bass. Look at some of the images online, and you'll actually find that the early 70s versions actually had the same control block, same knobs, same colour. And that kind of made me change my mind about the cheapness of it. If it's based on the 70s version, and that's what the 70s version looked like, then I'm kind of happy to kind of keep it like that. Maybe over time I might look at changing it, but at the moment, if that's the way it is, then I'm happy to keep it that way. I'll probably look at changing the strings on this at some point. Actually, I said I don't mind the round strings. I think they kind of give it a little bit of a modern edge to it. But certainly changing around to Labella or Diodarios or something along those kind of lines will make a difference. Other than that, look, there's nothing else that you really need to do it, and it's certainly not a toy or something you would just hang on the wall and have as a sort of a gimmicky show thing. It's a dinky-die instrument that you can kind of play and gig with, and very effectively, and you do get those Hofner sounds. That's my review today. Hope you've enjoyed that. That gives you a little bit more of an idea of the instrument. Certainly, if you have any questions, drop me a line. Otherwise, thanks for watching my series. There's some more coming out soon. I'm hoping to to show my role on GR77 synth bass in the future, and I know a few people have been asking about that as well. So I'll certainly be bringing that into the series in the near future. So thanks a lot again, and have a good day. Cheers, and I'll talk to you later on.